welcome back into the GSMC Sports Podcast as we are just over 24 hours away from the beginning of the NBA Summer League. And I understand that the Summer League is something that it's not everybody's cup of tea, and I get probably a little bit more invested in it than I maybe should, but I think it's really fun to see some of these players at the ground level and just sort of understanding what some of the expectations for, we watch them in these college settings, and it's great because it's very, it's playing into a team system and such, and not that the Summer League isn't that, but I think that you get to see a little bit more the showcasing of an individual player when it comes to the Summer League. And again, I know it's maybe a little bit ridiculous being as into it as I am, but it's just a fun thing to sort of, get to see these young players. And this year they are doing, once again, the 3 different iterations of the Summer League. The first is the California Classic, which is what's kicking off tomorrow. The Warriors, Lakers, Heat, Kings, Spurs, and Nuggets will be participating there. Did I just say Nuggets? It's because they are not. It's Warriors, Lakers, Heat, Kings, and Spurs, and Hornets. Sorry about that. The second is the Salt Lake City Summer League, which is 4 teams: the Utah Jazz, Memphis Grizzlies, Oklahoma City Thunder, and Philadelphia 76ers. And then starting July 12th are the official games of the Summer League. The actual Summer League that is official with the playoffs and everything, with all 30 teams. So we start with the California Classic, which kicks off tomorrow, and the first game we get is none other than the Los Angeles Lakers, who are going to be playing the Sacramento Kings, and we will have our first look at Dalton, Knecht, and Bronny James for LA. I haven't been super positive about Bronny James throughout this draft process and such, and it's mostly because of the external factors of, how the media has been covering it and such, but, I'm very excited to see Bronny play, actually get out of these conversations of, nepotism and whatnot, and just get to see him actually play basketball, because it's been a highly anticipated thing. And listen, I understand that Summer League can also be a little bit overblown at times. I remember watching Victor Wembanyama in his debut last summer and having the overall, reputation around him being very negative. And Wemby was, this extremely highly touted prospect that it was a little bit disappointing almost, but even still, you just got to see what he was made of in terms of, he really did not shoot well last summer, but you could see the framework of, wow, he is going to be special, this 7-footer who is trying things that we've never seen 7-footers try before. So it can be, if Bronny doesn't play well, he is going to be killed online, and it's going to be unfair. Now, hopefully that doesn't happen, but ultimately, again, I think that it is just really special to have this type of a moment, so I am looking forward to that. Dalton Knecht also, though, really is the more basketball relevant, important part of this conversation, considering the fact that the Lakers are trying to compete next year, and in order to do so, they're going to need help from other players stepping up. That was clearly not the case we saw when they faced the Nuggets last year. LeBron and Anthony Davis played well, but outside of that, they had very little help other than the one D'Angelo Russell game. And with the Nuggets, they had help coming from everywhere. Even when Jamal Murray was struggling for a lot of that series, you had other people stepping up. And that's what the Lakers are going to need. Dalton Knecht could very well be a legitimate rotational piece for the Lakers next season. So I'm excited to see sort of what he looks like in an NBA arena. I'm curious how much he's going to be sort of the main creator and initiator of a lot of this action. He was very hands-on during his college experience, and that won't be the case once he plays with the official Lakers. Now, in the Summer League, maybe they give him a little bit of runway to try and orchestrate his own action, but I am really curious to see how he plays with other, NBA talent players around him and what he looks like off the ball. So that is something that I'm looking to consider. Some other top players to watch in the Summer League this year. Brandon Miller is on the roster, and he is probably going to be the best player in the Summer League this summer. Now, we'll see how long he does actually play, whether or not the Hornets would pull him out after a couple games. I am pretty much always for sending your younger players to get this type of an experience. And unless there's an injury concern or anything, I see no harm really in just getting them some extra game reps. And in this case too, Brandon Miller playing for a Hornets team that doesn't really have much going on around him anyways, but for a lot of these younger players, getting some experience sort of away from the star players on the team and being able to, flourish a little bit more, get the experience as, one of the top guys. For whatever it's worth, Victor Wembanyama will not be playing in the Summer League this year as he is with the French national team. So you can turn your attention to that instead if you want to watch Wemby this summer, but not going to be playing in the NBA Summer League. The Hornets overall, though, are going to be one of the more fun teams, I think, to watch this summer, considering the fact that they also have their more recent draft picks of Tijon Salon and KJ Simpson. So Hornets, it's going to be interesting. I think a lot of people got very excited about the video that was going viral on Twitter of their new head coach, Charles Lee, and some of the culture that he was trying to establish, almost just coaches with a ton of energy, and I do think that it is going to be infectious for the rest of the team, so I'm definitely looking forward to that. But it's some of the other players to definitely keep an eye on. I am fascinated to see how Zachary Rissache performs, the number 1 overall pick for Atlanta, of course, and this is going to be his opportunity to show, his reputation coming into the NBA is that in a perfect world, he's going to be a really good 3-and-D player. That's not super encouraging for a number 1 overall pick, and he's going to probably, you would think, have opportunities with the ball in his hand during the Summer League here. Keep in mind, he played professionally, too, in Europe, so it's not like this is going to be some sort of drastic shift in terms of level of difficulty. I think it's going to be really, really interesting to see how he's able to perform and handle the pressure and such. So we'll see about that. And then one of the other teams I'm really interested in is the Washington Wizards, because I want to get the experience. I watch some of these international prospects when they're overseas, but getting to see them in an NBA setting in a much more accessible type of platform is going to be really interesting to see. So having Alex Sarr and seeing what he is going to look like in the NBA as well, and for whatever it's worth, throwing Bub Carrington in there, I think you can talk yourself into that being a little bit of a fun duo in terms of the pick and pop and some of the flashes of athleticism that can be displayed there that will be fun to watch. But that, again, kicks off this weekend, so can't imagine I'm going to get a ton of ability to talk about it on the show here because of the lack of interest, but I'm a really big fan of Summer League, so I'm looking forward to it this year. But we're going to be taking our final break now. When we come back on the other side, we've been doing a lot of basketball the past week or so. We're going to dive into a little bit of MLB and talking about the Boston Red Sox, who are coming off of a series sweep and are in contention for a playoff spot. But as the trade deadline approaches, there is not a lot of optimism that the franchise is going to buy in at the deadline. So we'll talk about whether or not that is the right decision after this quick break. Don't go anywhere. We will be right back.